A light in the dark. I just looked it up. I bought this a while ago, I believe. I can't remember why anymore. It must have looked promising with the art style and stuff. I don't even know if this... Is this an indie visual novel? It's definitely native Japanese, I think. And it's published by a Seika project in the West, so... They have like hit or miss, don't they? There's a Nokia 3310 on the floor, so immediately I'm actually like, this game got bumped up. Like, let's say on average it's a 5 out of 10. It's now a 6 out of 10. Let's go. New game. It's also a visual novel. If you don't like visual novels, just don't watch this. Please don't do this to yourself. The world is not fair. That is right. That's what every snail says as well. The world is simply unfair. It was a saying. The world is one big intricate machine. With the people as its cogs and the law as its screws, the countless pieces connect with each other in order to operate. Through continuous refining, on top of repeated collapse and reconstruction, modern society is eventually formed. I feel like there's a immediate collapse coming. The more complicated a machine appears to be, the more delicate it really is. One loose screw would stop the whole thing, one failed detail would lead to collapse. Therefore, we must be ever vigilant and watchful and remove every single problematic piece. Again, I remind you that I don't know what this game is about anymore. Mommy needs to head out and take care of something, so have dinner without me. You can eat whatever you like. Can I eat you, Mommy? If Daddy calls, just tell him I'm in class. Or in a class, okay? The laughter of an unknown man, hurried footsteps, and the sound of an engine start. Oh my god, Mommy, are you cheating on Daddy? You look the type. With your sexy fucking one-line anime lips. It was at that moment I heard the sound of dissonance from the machine. I guess something inside you broke. Imagine doing that to your child. Just lie to your dad. You know exactly that I'm cheating on him, but just lie to him. It was very cold. I felt a freezing chill as I regained consciousness. It wasn't so much that I felt cold when I awoke, but that an icy draft had caused me to wake up. As I opened my eyes, they were met by darkness. All I could make out was that I was in some sort of small room. This place was unknown to me. It wasn't my room, nor was it a hotel room. My head hurt as if I had a hangover. I tried to stand up in order to find some sort of light switch, but all I felt from my legs was numbness. It's a wonder you can even see anything. Is there like a dim light coming from somewhere? Where am... The smell of cigarettes and mold in the air was nauseating. As I fought to regain my bearings, I realized that something was not quite right. What happened to me? A sense of unease overcame me. I tried to calm down and organize my thoughts. I recalled that I was on my way home from cram school. Ooh, finally up, rich boy? Hooah! An unfamiliar voice rang in my ears, right when I opened my mouth to ask... Oh shit! I have a health bar? Who smacked me? Out of nowhere, a foot swiftly sunk itself into my stomach, launching me towards the wall. Please, next time choose my face. Ooh, some kind of voice acting in there. I felt my stomach turn and I almost vomited. However, all that came out was a dry fit of coughing. I couldn't stop spasming on the ground. Is that the word spasming or is it spazzing? All that was on my mind was the intense pain, and I was also too scared to make any sound. Who is she? Where am I? What is she doing? My body's not responding. I have to escape. My body hurts. What happened? Countless questions went through my mind, but before I could speak, I heard that cold voice again. Who gave you permission to talk? Did I say anything? There was no change in expression as she watched me struggle. There was nothing but a look of pure animosity in her eyes. Oh, I love it when girls look at me like that. You better keep your mouth shut. I do not have the patience nor intention to play nice with you. Got that? I struggled to stand up, then came to the shocking realization that my limbs went numb. They were tightly tied up with rope. Okay. I struggled against it, but the rope was far tighter than I imagined. It's virgin rope. Ow, again! I mean, I know that this is scripted. Is this a kinetic novel? That I can't remember, but... Rich boy, do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Or do you only respond after a good beating? Bitch! Another kick made me almost scream and curse at her. However, knowing now was not the time to confront her, I grit my teeth to force myself to stay calm. Anything I said at that moment could be fatal. I had to grasp the situation first. She's getting closer. Man, I wish I could see her face. Is her mouth slightly open? It's red hair? That's the tsundere type, isn't it? Suddenly she got closer. Not realizing her intention, my body instinctively tried to move away from her touch. That's what you would do. I, on the other hand. Scared? Noticing my slight reaction, she gave a nod of contempt. It's a slight reaction, not slight erection, okay? The last shred of defiance disappeared as soon as the blade touched my body. There was no chance of victory, no matter how I resisted. I waited for her next move. All you could hear in the quiet room was our shallow breathing. The tip of the blade moved across my skin, making a small cut. My tensed up nerves were extra sensitive, detecting the exact temperature of the air, the crudeness of the rope, and the sharpness of the blade. There was a certain feeling of warmth from the blood that flowed out from the wound and down my arm. Nevertheless, my mind was extremely clear. Kidnapping, human trafficking, organ trade. A few possibilities came to mind, but there was no way to determine which. Since we have to hang out a little before I get the ransom, let me make a few things clear. Don't try to run or talk without permission. I don't mind breaking a few bones. Humans can handle a few just fine after all. You hear me? I nodded quietly. I couldn't digest all the information at once, but one key word stood out. Ransom. Oh yeah. Yes. The blade left my skin, and I swore I heard a little sigh escape from her. There was a sound of light footsteps moving towards the wall. Before I could even feel confused, a glaring light broke through the darkness of the room. Ooh. Oh my god, it's so fucking bright. Not able to adjust to the sudden brightness, it took me quite a while to finally open my eyes. What came into view was totally foreign to me. The room was roughly 300 square feet in size. 300 square feet. Like, what are feet? I know what feet are, okay, I have two. But in, like, American terms, how many meters is 1 feet? Or how many feet are 1 meter? I guess are feet literally the length of a foot? Aren't feet different lengths for everybody? Did I miss something? Does everyone have the same length of foot? I swear to God, there's something wrong with you Americans, okay? You need to admit to that, finally. The wall that was meant for painting was now mottled, its original color no longer visible. Time had its way with the room, causing everything to become decayed, be it the wooden chair, desk, or bed. The resulting smell of mold in the air was reminiscent of ruins you'd find in a movie. Oh my god, she's fucking perfect, look at her. The owner of this place stood near the window with a taunting smirk on her lips. Why do I... Something happened to me in the past and I can't pinpoint what, but I just love it when girls look at me like that. I don't even like mean girls that much, really, but a little bit is fine, I guess. Never lived in a place like this, did you, rich boy? The words were clearly provocative. Bearing the burning pain, I tried to observe her through the lamplight. She was a young-looking woman. She wore a dark overcoat and a scarf, her shoulder-length hair casually scattered behind her back, with bangs almost covering her eyes. See, I don't just like old hags, it's also the young anime girls that do it for me. Surprisingly, she wore no face mask or helmet, nor made any attempt to avoid my staring. She didn't seem to mind her face being seen. She didn't have the stereotypical look of a criminal. Despite a hint of unease on her meager face, there wasn't an ounce of guilt within those dark brown pupils of hers that stared straight at me. You know what? I hate people like you. See, with this, I don't like her as much anymore, but the angry look with a smile? That's a good one. She was talking to herself, ignoring how pale my face was and making no attempt to elaborate. This was not a conversation, but a simple declaration. Who was she? Where was I? What did she want? Why did she do such a thing? Countless questions circled around in my brain, but not a single sound came out of my mouth when I opened it. What did eventually come out was something totally unrelated. Why me? The unfamiliar dry voice sounded like some rough sandpaper. Why? The girl mumbled my question next to the window. She looked sad now. The light reflected off of the girl's face. Orange spots of light scattered across her messy hair, dancing like fire. Here we go. She hung her head in contemplation. It took her a while to raise her head again with a grin. No particular reason. As though it was only natural. The empty voice held no emotions, but instead a malevolent sense of pleasure. The world is just unfair. Isn't that your favorite line? Oh my god. Did she kidnap Kotaro Uchikoshi. Seeing the shock in my eyes, she chuckled. With that mocking statement, the curtain was raised for this kidnapping incident. What are we getting ourselves into with this game? A light in the dark. Day 1, kidnapping. I can save, load, go back to title or next. I guess I'm gonna save. Did this save now? There's no indication of any save file other than the 4 being lit up. Alright. Next? I assume there's gonna be choices if there's different days and stuff. I stood in a world of darkness. There was no sky or ground, only endless darkness. A dream. I realized amidst all the fuzziness that I was in a dream, yet I couldn't control my thoughts. The intermittent noise was annoying, like a radio with poor signal. Suddenly the ground began to slowly sink as if it were quicksand. I tried to move my legs but realized I couldn't move. My heels, my knees, and then my arms. The darkness gradually devoured my body. I heard that vivid disdain before my vision was overtaken. I hate people like you. So she keeps repeating that or what? Day 1, morning. Oh my god. Alright. This is novel for a visual novel? What time was it now? I couldn't tell the time. I needed to escape. Untying the rope was my only option. My only exits were the door and the window. Was there really nowhere else? I should try to converse with her. A better relationship could be beneficial. Can I click the red keywords? Let's take a look at the maiden first. A girl with long hair and sharp eyes. She didn't seem to be older than 30. Okay. For some of you, that is hag territory, I admit. For me, that's literally my age. Although I am older than 30 by now. Her pale skin didn't appear to be healthy, and she wore a clearly outdated overcoat and scarf. I still didn't know who she was, if only I could get her name at least. Why did she pick me as the target? Can I click these? No. Okay, so these are my bullet points I should try to... I clicked something and the window just closed. Still half asleep, I opened my eyes. The room before me was still the same unfamiliar one. So it wasn't a dream. A long sigh couldn't relieve the depression in my chest, and my heart sunk to the pit of my chest. Oh, there's a Rubby Reeby that was on the wall. I was kidnapped. What was the objective? What should I do? My mind was all blank. There was more confusion and fear. It's been said that in presence of a threat you either become petrified, try to flee, or try to fight. Becoming petrified is the worst out of these. Reflexively stopping actions to avoid catching predators' attention was probably the best way to describe how I felt. Now, I'm not a fan of that. I tried to pull the rope, but nothing happened. The headache was hard to bear. The pain medication I usually kept on me was in my bag, which was out of reach in my current state. I asked her to like mouth-to-mouth you the painkillers. Damn it. My mind did get clearer after sleeping. Everything that happened yesterday still felt like a dream, but the reality of it was right before my eyes. How can you even sleep bound by rope? Is that possible? Wouldn't it be incredibly uncomfortable? Am I on the ground still, or? Morning light brightened up the room. I could see the peeling paint on the wall and the old pieces of furniture. There was nothing but decay, as though it was untouched for a long time. Was it an abandoned, empty house, or did they actually live here? The kidnapper was nowhere to be found. I couldn't hear anything and thus couldn't tell how many people were around. Perhaps shouting for help might catch someone's attention, but the kidnapper might also be right outside of the door. Yes, that is... contemplate the situation. Oh my god. Choices with, like, timers, that is... oof. That's not what I want in my visual novel. Stress. Let's contemplate the situation. My yelling might not be heard, and I could be in trouble if it got the kidnapper's attention instead. I could still feel the pain from where I got kicked the day before. I tried to make myself a little more comfortable and relaxed my back by leaning on the wall. First, my physical condition. My hands were tied up to the point that I had no space to move around, let alone release the rope. My body overall was fine, but I couldn't really rest in this position. I had to save my energy to escape. I always wonder in situations like this, what if you need to go to the toilet? And, like, pissing yourself, alright, but what if you need to take a fucking shit? Is your body in such a stressful situation that, because your body does that it just can't take a shit? That it just keeps it all inside? Or, because what if you started shitting yourself? I mean, she wouldn't like that, right? It would smell horrible. shitting yourself really smells horrible. Like, even a diaper fucking smells, like, horrid. So where to start? How did I get kidnapped? Where am I? What time is it? What time is it? It's morning, I guess? Speaking of time, it was currently... Oh, the clock on the wall was pointed to 5:44 AM. Cram school ended at 9:30 PM, so I was probably kidnapped around 10 PM. Is it summer? Because otherwise the sun wouldn't be this bright on 5:34 AM. I was asleep for maybe 7 hours, enough time to drive from Taipei to Kaohsiung. I didn't know how long I'd been out. Might have been a whole day. Wait, is this like a native... Maybe this is not native Japanese after all. How long could the medicine be effective? No longer than a day, right? If the medicine was really that potent, there should also be some strong side effects, yet my body only felt like it had taken a nap. Before I could think further, I heard footsteps outside. I couldn't help but tense up. Who was that? Before I made up my mind on how to respond, I saw the girl pushing open the door. With a knife in her hand. Please lick it. Come on, please do that for me. Holding the knife and wearing the same overcoat and scarf, she stared at me. I tried to look back calmly, but I could still clearly feel my rapid heartbeat. Finally up, rich boy? I looked at her silently, trying to guess her intention from her words and actions. I was in an unfamiliar situation and there were too many questions still unanswered. The location, the time, the objectives, any sort of information would help. You're free once your daddy pays up, so stay quiet. Otherwise I can't guarantee what will happen to you. After she told that to me, she sat next to the window and lit a cigarette. Yeah, big turnoff. It was easier to see her face in the sunlight. Her neglected long hair was messy and her long bangs almost blocked her vision. Her pale skin wasn't makeup, more like something she was born with or the result of poor health. 200 years ago it was a sign of royalty. Or maybe drug abuse? Hey! The girl's voice broke my train of thought. She stared coldly at me, with the cigarette still in her hand. Not royalty, rather nobility, like the pale skin. I will make a few things clear. Yes, please. When I contact your dad, don't talk, don't move, don't have any funny ideas. This is not a game. That's where she's wrong. I don't have the patience, and I don't mind shutting you up by breaking 1 or 2 bones. Digesting every word, I pondered what to say. Okay. I won't be a pussy in this situation, I think. Got it, I'll play by your rules. Still assessing the best way to deal with her, I should avoid triggering her for my own safety. Yeah, don't trigger a girl with a knife, jeez. You better. I'm free once you get the money, right? What do you think? A nonchalant answer proved my guess, not that a assent meant anything. That was more like a no than a yes, I think. If a kidnapper's promise actually meant anything, then even world peace would be a pipe dream. Hao Chengqiang, age 18, only son of CEO Hua Jiang. Yeah, this is not Japanese. Address is Chongcheng Road Lane 2. Living by himself, buying breakfast at 10 AM every day, jogging at the park at 8 PM. Cram school every Tuesday and Thursday, which ends at 9:30 PM. Always takes the shortcut at the walkway under construction. She lazily read my information and from time to time paused to look at me as though anticipating something. Yeah, that's not like these days. You can just take a look at my social media and you would know. I guess. For most people, not mine. I don't really share much about my private life. Quite comprehensive. Huh. She grunted after noticing my lack of reaction. Leaking personal information wasn't new, but it was still uncomfortable to hear someone knowing your daily routine like they knew their own garage. If she knew that much about me, did that mean an acquaintance of mine was behind all this? My best attempts to remember still failed. Hard to believe she had any reason to pick me. No one but my parents and the building security knew my schedule, and none of them could be the leaker. What? You think people working in security are not moonlighting as criminals? What? First things first. You don't have to keep your feet... you don't have to keep my feet tied up, you know. Can I tie up your feet? I have no intention of running. Even if you don't believe me, my hands are still tied. Also, you have a knife. I couldn't run away like this even if I wanted to. What if I'm a good kickboxer or something? As soon as I get on my feet, I can just... BAM! Kick the knife out of her stupid hands. And I'd kick her in the groin. Does this hurt as a woman if you get kicked in the groin? It must, right? It's a very delicate place. It's really uncomfortable being tied up like this, and it's just I told you before. She interrupted me. She squatted before me and looked me right in the eye. I hate people like you. Having too much money to spend, never tasting any pain, everything just goes your way. You know nothing, Jon Snow, yet still act almighty like some big shot. Uncomfortable? You think I care? Let's make you more uncomfortable, I say. What a messed up personality. But it's turning me on a little bit. I felt her animosity, but didn't want to explain it to her. Too many people found society to be unfair, always blaming their failures on someone else, thinking they were victims of the system. If it was that easy to convince her, she wouldn't have kidnapped someone in the first place. Got nothing left to say now? Noticing my silence, she tried to provoke me. I just look away. Don't give it the time of day. I wasn't dumb enough to argue with someone with my hands tied, especially if said person was not holding a knife. Loser. Oh yeah, please, can you repeat that? Seeing as how I didn't respond, she sneered and lost interest in me, returning to the window. My notes updated. Interestingly. So what now? Remaining actions 4. You can choose various actions. When your action points reach 0, the next phase will begin. I can talk to the kidnapper, I can look at the items in the room, or I can rest to restore stamina. I should... Yeah, okay. I don't know how much stamina I restore by doing this, so I'm not gonna do it for now. Let's see. I did tell the time, come on. I got some new information here. Animosity against rich people made it impossible to communicate with her. Let's try to chat. Click on this icon to return. Click on one of the topics. The list will change as you progress through the story. I'm not gonna go down that route again. What do you want? Money, I guess? What is that question? What do you want? Are you an idiot? Money, of course. Do you think I enjoy kidnapping people? She grunted in disdain, then her mouth broke into a naughty smirk. Naughty? Of course, teaching a type of lesson feels good too. Otherwise, you would think the whole world revolves around you. Huh. Her words were still aggressive. Still had no idea why she was so mad. Everything else aside, just the fact I didn't even know her in person made it bizarre that she had such a grudge. Who do you think you are? This question. Teach me a lesson? Who do you think you are? Are you my mommy? Staring at her coldly, I spat out each word clearly. Just a puny kidnapper. The fact wouldn't change even with all your excuses. That's right, just a kidnapper. I thought I would get a beating, but she didn't get mad. Instead, she just raised her knife and smiled at me. Yet your survival depends on the mood of this puny kidnapper. So stay quiet, got it? Why you? I didn't want to admit it, but she had a point, and a knife. It was a look showing no hesitation. I knew she wasn't joking. I had to find another way. So what now? We might have to rest after all, I don't know. Let's chat with her again. What's your name? Can you give me your name? What's your name? The girl was staring at her phone and didn't hear my question, so I repeated it. Huang Yi. She carelessly said 2 syllables before suddenly shutting up. She raised her head and looked at me cautiously. She's not a professional at this. Say again? I secretly remembered the partial answer, but acted as though I heard nothing. Tsk. You think I'll tell you just so you can... You think I'll tell you just so you can call the cops later? What? Is she saying this on me? How should I address you? How should I address you then? Like, that... Let's slow this down for a second. Asking for her actual name is in a way both smart and dumb, because that makes it more personal between them. And that's not necessarily what you want depending on the personality of the person that threatens you, right? If she gives you like a code name now, you have a way to address her, you have a way to engage conversation. But you also won't trigger her as much as if you were like saying her actual name, which would remind her of her usual life and would maybe like stress her out. And that's the last thing we want, I guess. So if we ask her for something for us to address her with, that's the smart play, I think. Also keeping in mind what we've heard for later, maybe. Maybe we want to stress out later on. Hearing my response, she burst into laughter. How to address me? Are you out of your mind? You can address me any way you want. I'm not here to make friends. Okay, bitch. Let's see what we've learned. Still don't know who she was, if only I could get her name. So her last name was Huang, but I still had no recollection of her. Yi, Huang Yi, that's what she said, right? Let's rest. I should rest when I get a chance. Oh my god, it did increase my stamina a lot. I thought it would get me up to full.